Morning all, it's 11:25, it's another beautiful sunny day, having some incredible weather at the moment, and I'm on my way to pick up Dan for another episode of The Plan, and today we're going to be talking about what advice would you give your younger self. I'm in my 50s, Dan's in his 40s, if we could go and meet ourselves and we were 18 years old, what would we say? What's the information we think would have the most impact? It's going to be an interesting one, stick around. Well, that's not so.
It's not so. So well. Well.
Here we are,
So,
on the common, on a
yeah,
bench,
Yeah.
and the discussion.
For another bijou chatette.
Yeah.
On the bonquette for a bijou chatette.
Discussion today is, what would you say if you met your 18-year-old self now? What advice would you give to yourself that you think would improve your life?
Obviously, I've given this, some thought.
Obviously.
Some, not much. The first one would be, go to bed, Dan. It's not worth it. Nothing more fun is going to happen.
Ah, that's a big one. That's true. Do you know what? I actually have that, or did have that in my will.
What?
I wrote in my will a bit of a life lesson to my kids. And it used to say, when I wrote it for the first time, which was 10 years ago, I think, always stay up at a party. The last drink with the last person who's still around can often be the most interesting thing of the night and can often lead to the most exciting new opportunities. And I went back a few years ago and just delete, go to bed early. Leave the party before anybody else. Be that cool, enigmatic one that just disappears. Don't say goodbye.
I used to know a guy, they used to say, because he used to slope, they call it, sloping off. Don't do a big goodbye, just slope.
Just do one, yeah.
When people say, what time do you leave? You say, about 1:15. Oh yeah, we weren't long after you. No? What, about past? Yeah, about past. Yeah.
It's good advice. I dread to think how much time I wasted at parties and people's houses for, I don't know what they're called. Like these days, kids call them gatherings, don't they? When there's like 2 or 3 people.
They used to be called parties.
It was just parties, but now it's a gathering if it's not a bunch of people. And then
it's not so much like the evenings is one thing, but it's the next day, especially because we used to be touring quite a lot.
Yeah.
And you'd stay up. You think, I'll stay up. We're on a tour bus driving through. We're on the, A1 driving. No, I'm going to stay up and party, and then you get to a gig and you think, why have I done this?
We've all been there, mate. Yeah, or driving through Germany or the States or whatever, and you think, we're going to stay up all night and we're going to drink 10 bottles of red, and then you get to the gig and you're like,
why did I do that?
Yeah. What on earth did I do that for?
Yeah, that would be another one. Stop focusing on, now, the party. And all the things that go along with it. Think about where you are now, where that might get you in the future. Because I live very much in.
That's quite deep in it for an 18-year-old.
I fell on my feet, but I could have made a bit more of what I had than I did, because I was too involved in living in the minute. Running up and down aeroplane aisles in somebody else's high heels and, doing all sorts of things that.
That said, I would say
advised.
Possibly unique to the entertainment industry, possibly even unique to the music industry. I think the fact that both me and you would stay up, would chat to whoever, would do the crazy whatever was going on, means people want to work with you. And it's not all about your technical ability and all about how well you can do your job. You have to get on with people.
Yeah.
People have to want to spend weeks and weeks and weeks with you.
Yeah, but you have to get on with them in the morning of the load-in, not,
You do, yeah.
not at...
That was never your strong point. You were a grumpy fucker in the mornings.
Still am.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not so bad now. But yeah, grumpy fucker in the mornings.
Yeah.
Why are people chatty in the mornings? We used to have that bus driver, do you remember?
I remember you saying to him, don't talk to me for 2 hours.
Yeah. Why do people want to chat in the morning? I don't get it. Just have a bit of time to yourself. Just, let's all collect our thoughts. I've been asleep for about 35 minutes.
Yeah. That's the problem. You're right in the first place. If you just hadn't done that, everything would be better.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so earlier nights, not staying up for the imaginary cool thing that's going to happen.
That never happens.
That never happens.
Yeah.
But does that apply to girls? Do you know what I mean? If there's girls around, quite often it's the...
I told you the advice I'd give girl-wise, and you told me I wasn't allowed to say it.
But it's like that Pharrell song, and it's staying up all night to get happy and all of that, and it's like you're thinking, oh, maybe she'll notice me in an hour, maybe she'll... No, generally not.
No.
If you haven't got there in the first couple of hours, give up.
Well, what with girls?
Well, just go.
I don't know. I've always been rubbish with girls. I have no idea.
Just go to bed.
Yeah.
You'll look better.
Just go to bed.
When you get
You're
to
not
40,
missing anything.
You might still look in your 30s.
Yeah.
That'll help you in that department way more than staying up, doing shots and whatever else goes on.
Yeah, and what comes with that is don't waste your money partying.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're going to, aren't you? You're going to.
I think I got away quite lightly with that because I did a lot of it obviously on tour where basically, it was my money, but someone else gave it to me.
Yeah.
Very, very close to when I spent it. Here's your PDs, thanks very much for going to the bar. And then I think, I settled down quite young. I moved in with my girlfriend when I was 21. We had kids when I was 25, 26, and again at 30. So I was all done with kids by the time I was 30. So all that time when most of my friends were blowing loads of money on partying, I wasn't saying we was doing none, but we would maybe get one night off every other week or something. So it was
and then you don't want to be hungover to look after your kids. It's searing hot out here, isn't it?
It's insanely hot right now.
My bum cracks like Niagara.
I kind of wasn't expecting this level of heat.
No.
I think we might have to break for the nearest pub to get a drink. I
can see that coming on.
Yeah, this is going to work.
I can see that coming on.
I'm burning.
Are you?
I can feel it coming. It's hot. Your face has gone like red.
Yeah, no, my face was red before I got here because I've been soaking it up for days.
Tad warm here.
Yeah, the only other, because quite often I think about this, and I will leave a list.
Yep.
But like you say, it changes quite a lot. Number 2 on the list after go to bed would be don't bother with white boxer shorts.
This is a good one. Yeah.
Just buy black pants.
100%.
Just because,
that's a lesson you learn later in life. Definitely.
It's not attractive if you go and take a girl out for the evening, you've got white pants on.
With skids?
With massive skids down the back of them. Which, it's inevitable.
It's inevitable
quick bum scratch here and there, quick fart, or shart, as your man called it.
God.
It's just not it's not a good look.
It's not.
No, so black pants, that'd be another bit of advice.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one. Mm-hmm. Yep. Wow.
What are the pearls of wisdom?
I was just waiting for your next one. You're on a roll, yeah? On a roll. I think I would, this notwithstanding the fact that I don't have many regrets, I'm very happy that my life went the way it did. I love my kids as much as, my relationship with their mum didn't work out long term. I wouldn't want to change anything because they're an incredible part of my life. That said, if I could go back and speak to the 18-year-old me, I would say maybe calm down a bit. Maybe don't try and do everything quite so quickly.
Yeah.
I think it did me a lot of good in that my career was off and running early. I was working in the job I wanted to do at 17, which is, kids don't do that now.
Yeah.
So that gave me a big head start. There was humps and bumps, many along the way, especially the first 10 years.
Yeah.
But
mainly bumps.
Mainly bumps, yeah. But it helps so much to be getting an early start.
That, as you see, I think that sort of brings us on to another bit of advice is there is so much more time than you think.
Oh, there's loads.
You know, it's like, don't respond to that letter today.
No.
You've got weeks.
Life is long.
Life is long. Things happen, you know.
Yeah.
You get so used to being, like, things being, well, interactive is the word, but immediate.
Yeah.
That, you know, you think that everything has to be like now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, because no matter what they say, life goes on for ages.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I
especially the crap bits.
Especially the crap bits. But I learned a long time ago, you can choose to live life at your pace. And, you know, I know people who are living life at breakneck speed and they've never got time for anything and they're always in a rush and they're always late for things.
Yeah.
That's just a choice. We've all got 24 hours in our days.
Yeah.
We make choices about how much we try and fit into those days, and I think I'm pretty busy and get a lot done, but I'm factoring plenty of time. If I'm going somewhere, let's factor in some time in case there's a problem on the way. If I've got to do something that's important today, let's not factor it into when I've only got an hour. Let's maybe push it to tomorrow when I've got 4 hours.
Why do today what you can put off until tomorrow?
Well, no, I like getting things done, but I just don't give yourself an insane schedule that means you're always stressed, because that's literally just the choice. And all the people that say, oh, no, I've got too much to do. No, you've chosen to take on too much. You know, work that out.
It's coming from two blokes that have just had a couple of beers and a chicken schnitzel in a nice pub garden and are now sat in the park waxing lyrical.
While everyone else is at work.
While everybody else is at work on the hottest day of the year so far.
But these are the results of choices we've made along the way.
Yeah.
Because we want to live life a certain way.
Yeah, true that.
You work hard, I work hard, but we have flexibility to do stuff like this.
Yeah, we do.
And that is important to my life.
Yeah.
You know, and I know, you know, one of my kids has got a job where that isn't really feasible. You know, and they might all end up doing that. I don't know. It's a choice you make. It's up to you. It might not be important to you.
Another one is, and it's not, that the classic line would be, don't worry about what anybody else thinks. And I think that's a bit ridiculous, because you do have to, you know, you can't be an absolute arse and not consider what people think about you, your friends, your family and stuff.
No, but there's an element of you can absolutely not care too much what other people think about you.
But don't judge yourself by the opinions of others.
100%.
It took me a long time to realise that.
Yeah, same. I think if I'd have known that sooner, I'd have got on in life quicker.
Yeah, exactly the same as that.
I think I was very self-image obsessed when I was young.
Yeah.
Which, to the point of, there were people I wouldn't associate with because I thought they were nerds. When in reality, I found out years later I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Just didn't think I was. I thought I was too cool to be a nerd.
They're at the same chess club.
Turns out I'm one of them. And there was a lot of judgment, you know, about what people looked like and who that meant they were.
Yeah.
Not just with random people, but, you know, people in my family. I would judge them based on things that really shouldn't have anything to do with anything.
Yeah.
And that has held me back, 100%.
Yeah.
That's taken a while to work that stuff out. And it's my own issues. There's nothing to do with anything else.
Yeah, but it often is. Yeah, who's that guy who works for Jimmy Iovine?
Yep.
Owns the record industry.
Yep.
And he says, you know, when you get a good artist, you got to put blinkers on them.
Yep.
You know, because they fall, racehorses fall when they look to the left or the right when people are coming up sort of behind them. That's when they trip. And I say that to people, young people, quite a bit now. I'm like, you try and get your blinkers on.
Yeah, do your own
Don't
thing.
worry about what these people are doing and what they're thinking. Just think about, you know, what do you want to do?
Yeah, 100%.
But then it's very easy to say that when you're, you know, 35 like I am. And
okay.
When you're 35 like I am, and, you know, younger people sort of 28, 29 aren't ready for that sort of advice.
You weren't ready for that advice at 35 then? Oh dear.
No, I'm not great at taking advice. Do you know what? I can take advice. It's being told no I can't stand.
Yeah, I'm bad at that. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, but you can't do. Whoa.
It's something that fires me up. If I'm told I can't do something, there's much more chance I'm going to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I think everything I've done in my career is because I've been told no.
No, you can't do that.
Can't do that. I'm like.
Then you tried it, and it turned out they were right.
They were right all along. I couldn't do it. Yeah. And now I've made an ass of myself trying.
Yeah.
No, I would say that's a good point. I would definitely say to the young me, all that stuff you want to do, don't put it off.
Yeah.
Get on with it.
Yeah.
Get on with it. And And just remember that this whole life thing, it's all an illusion. We're just floating around for a few decades and then we're dead.
Yeah.
200 years, no one's going to know you ever existed. So don't worry about what anyone says.
No, just
do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Get on with it. However crazy it is, just do it.
There was that book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Shit. Do you remember?
Not giving a fuck.
Not giving a fuck, sorry.
Yeah, love it. It's a great book.
Yeah, and the general ethos of it is pick your battles.
Yeah.
Pick the things that are going to make a difference to your life and that you're going to have some chance of succeeding in. And I think that's great advice. You know, say to people, you know, because I'm terrible for this. I get really upset and really pissed off with things that happen to me.
Yeah.
But the only one that's upset or pissed off is me.
There you go.
So what's the, you know, and it's like there's nothing that's happened that you can change.
No.
So why waste your time being upset and pissed off about it?
Talking of battles, I feel like I'm fighting a battle against the big yellow thing in the sky right now. And there's a pub just over there behind those trees.
Okay.
We, I think, might have shade and cold beer.
Okay, well.
So I think we head that way and pick this up there.
Okay, well, he's the boss.
And we're back in a pub garden in the shade.
You were cooking, weren't you?
That was all of a sudden got really hot.
Well, you got a black t-shirt on.
That don't help.
No, it doesn't.
No.
I love a bit of sunshine.
I don't mind it. It just suddenly gets a bit. Whoa, hello.
Yeah.
Bit over the top.
Yeah. Well, keep your top on if.
I don't want to freak anyone out.
No. No. Yeah. So what were we talking about? Advice you give your younger self.
Yeah, we've done the whole not caring what other people think and all that kind of thing. I think what about more practical stuff? Like, obviously, you could say, go and invest in this company called Uber, go and invest in Nvidia, go and invest in
what
Google.
You mean? So if you could, like, in like some sort of time travel way, give yourself younger self tips.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's an obvious one. Go buy yourself grand's worth of Apple stock. It'll kill you at the time. But by the time you get to 40, you'll be a billionaire. Yeah. You know, all that stuff.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of that.
But, you know, in realistic terms, not knowing the future and all the rest of it, I think...
Buy a couple of Bitcoin.
Well, yeah, obviously. But I think more practical terms, start bleeding pension.
Yeah.
I started my pension a couple of years ago.
Did you?
You know, realistically, I think I started one. I was working in the third studio I worked at, and some guy came in and was setting everyone up with pensions. And I did it. I set a pension up. I think I paid into it for about 6 months and thought, I can't really afford that money every month. I'd rather just have the money. Yeah. And I stuck with that until I was 50 pretty much.
Well, the thing is when you got an employer, so I was a lecturer for ages, they actually pay in...
They pay it.
They pay in a third. They pay in 2/3 over what you're paying, I think.
Yeah. Well, I sort of do it like that now. So my company pays my pension, which is tax efficient, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But, yeah, that would have been a lot more sensible to have done it in my 20s than in my 50s. You know, and probably there's quite a few financial things that I could have been steered better on. I wasn't very good with money until I got to about 40.
No, I'm still not.
I think I got it eventually, but it took a while.
But the thing is, you're not interested when you're young. I wasn't interested. You know,
I'm
people tried to tell me
now.
about. No, I'm not interested in it now. But people used to try to tell me, you know, spend half, save half. Yeah. Spend your money on your mattress and your shoes, because if you're not in one, you're in the other.
That's a really good quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not on one, you're in the other. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Was that your wife and your mistress? Yeah, that would have been it.
Yeah. No, I think that's wise. You know, and probably invest a bit more in things for the long term. I think I was definitely, when I was younger, I would buy cheaper versions of things because I didn't really see the bigger picture. Yes. You know, whereas, you know, buying one thing that lasts 20 years is better than buying 3 that last, 6 years. It's just, you need a slightly better view of the world.
I'd have definitely...
you don't have in your 20s.
No, that's it. You don't have any view of the world. You think you know it all, and in fact you know absolutely nothing. Yeah. And then you start to learn it all, and you think, God, I wish I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
Like tax. I mean, I wouldn't advise my younger self on tax.
See, I would.
Yeah, well,
I didn't.
Sensibly, I should, but I can remember getting my first huge tax bill.
Yeah.
You know, got my first proper job touring, earned a significant amount of money in a year. And, you know, it came in gross, you know, as it does, your invoice gets paid.
Yeah.
And I fucking spunked a lot. And then I remember coming to tax bill time, you know, approximately January the 29th.
Yeah.
You know, is the usual time you do your self-assessment. And counting up my invoices, and I hadn't got a penny to pot to piss in. I was like,
what did you do?
Where has all that money gone? And now you've got X amount to pay for tax.
How did you get around that?
I think, well, same way as I can do now. I pay in, you know, I've had a direct debit into the tax office since then, pretty much.
Wow. Just catching up.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, always just catching up.
I think I've been quite strict with myself for quite a long time, because there was a period of time when I was running a business when I was 23. I opened my own recording studio, my own premises, multiple rooms. It was kind of a dream come true at 23 years old to own that, but also insane. I don't really know why I did it. I don't know what I was thinking. I had no interest in running a business. I just wanted to work.
You don't realise that. That's the thing, isn't it?
I thought the studio I'd just been working at had basically gone under, and I wanted to work at one just like it. So I'm like, well, I'll just open one just like it. So I did, and in the space of a year, sort of lost everything and ended up in quite a bit of debt. And I didn't go bankrupt, but I was close, and it took me a lot of time to dig myself out of that. And that was all happening. I think it all went to shit when I was 24, and my first son was born when I was 25. So when my kids were young, I couldn't get any credit, I was untouchable, I couldn't even get a bank account. So that was a very, very harsh lesson, and I never ever did it again.
Yeah.
I learned a hard lesson there, you know, be careful, you know, and now I do, you know, with thanks to a good accountant, I do things totally by the book, because I'm too scared not to. I'm just like, I can't get into that kind of trouble. It was, you know, life-changing then. Yeah. You know, I can't deal with it now. So I do it the right way. So I'll definitely have a word with myself about that and say, you know, money's easy come, easy go, but don't end up owing loads of people money.
Yeah, the thing is, again, getting older, and this is controversial, you know, I've got friends that are very, you know, my family have always been, you know, you pay what you due, you know. But I've got a lot of friends that earn a lot of money and don't pay any tax.
I think the more you earn, the more chance you've got to evade it.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think those kind of schemes are available when you're earning above a certain amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What can you do? What can you do?
There's, I tell you, I'll summarise this. We're a bit premature, but in summary, you know, I could tell my 18-year-old self lots of things, but I know it wouldn't listen to it because loads of people told my 18-year-old self all this stuff.
I know.
And I wasn't interested.
I know.
I wasn't interested in what you'd got to say.
Yeah.
All I was interested in was whatever was happening the next weekend.
I remember a friend of my dad's phoning me up one day when I was in real trouble. The studio was not doing well. You know, I was worrying about the bills mounting up and all that kind of stuff. And he was a pretty successful businessman, and he phoned me up and he said, right, I'm going to put you in touch with a couple of people that are going to really help you out with your marketing and, you know, and getting yourself out there and finding your clients. And he said, so what are you doing at the moment? I went, nothing. He's like, how much do you spend on advertising? I went, nothing. You know, what marketing have you done? I handed out some flyers. That's it.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's crazy. Of course, no one's going to
turn up because nobody knows you're there.
And I'm like, oh, right, yeah. And this was pre-internet. So there's no, I'll just build a website, social media, all of that. You can't do any of that. You have to get out there and, you know, beat the street kind of thing.
Go to gigs,
go to gigs and find bands. And I just, it didn't hit me till it was too late that that's what I should have been doing.
Yeah.
I thought that the people I knew in the industry would be enough to keep me going.
Yeah.
And I forgot that the people I knew considered me a friend, either didn't want to pay at all or wanted mates rates. And I had very few customers paying the full rate.
Full whack, yeah.
And it was just not enough. I just hadn't given 1 second's thought to the business side of it.
It's funny, I've got your friends, again, who've worked in music, and you start off, either playing or, mixing or whatever it is that you do in the business. And inevitably, businesses grow. And I can think of one in particular. We started off, it was just, me and my business partner, we were remixers, making music. He was the main programmer, I'd be on the phone making the deals and doing that. And then he said, and then we got a licensing manager, and then we started a publishing company. And he said, and all of a sudden, he said, I was never in the studio. I was managing these 12 people that we'd got doing, and sorting their lives out, and, and sorting out leave and sick pay and, national insurance contributions and all of this other shit that he said, I just never occurred to me that that's what I'd be taking on.
No. I mean, I think that's happened to me a little bit. I've tried to reverse out of that situation a bit in the last couple of years, but I definitely have found that that's what I've ended up doing. A lot more business and a lot less creativity, which doesn't float my boat very much.
No.
Unfortunately. I'm lucky that I can keep one arm in it, but it's a struggle sometimes.
I remember I had that studio for a while.
Yeah.
And I was running a band. And I thought, God, if you make it a collective, you incentivise people, you pay everybody the same, and you get them all to come together. You've got the studio, you've got the place. They don't have to bring kit. They can just turn up to rehearsals. You've got the backing tracks. It's set up. They just turn, and they're just going to be grateful. It's going to be harmonious.
And you're assuming they're like you.
Oh, gosh, and the bass player still doesn't learn his fucking parts. No. The singers still don't learn the words.
No.
And they still give you shit when, the venue puts you on later
Yeah.
or... people have got to move their cars, and you're thinking, hold on, I'm getting paid the same as you. I'm paying the rent on the studio, putting the fuel in the van, loading and unloading the van, and you're complaining at me. This is supposed to be a hippie collective, and you're moaning.
Yeah. I think you assumed...
Motherfuckers.
I think you assumed that people were like you.
Yeah.
And that's... You've got to be
kind,
really careful.
caring, thoughtful, considerate.
Some of that.
Yeah.
I think it's always a scary thing. Be careful who you go into business with or who you start creative projects with, because if someone is more inclined to sit back, that person will sit back.
Yeah.
And if you're more inclined to get on with things, you'll end up doing everything. And that can work. In some relationships, that very much works, and in others, it very much doesn't.
You know what? The thing that reminds me of is, it's like, if you don't want to do the washing up at home, do the washing up, but you do a shit job of the washing up. And I found that was a similar thing.
Yeah.
You'd be in there doing a bit of a monitor mix, doing a bit of a front of house mix, putting some parts together, and then people would just they'd get used to just standing around doing fuck all.
Yeah.
It's like half the kit's in the van. What you do? Why are you checking your Instagram?
But that's no different than having teenagers. That's what happens with them. You can get out the car full of shopping.
Yeah.
They'll walk to the house without picking up anything.
Yeah.
Because as far as they're concerned, it gets done.
Yeah, it's a grown-up.
They don't need to do anything.
Yeah. No.
It's the same. It's exactly the same mentality when you hire people, especially young people. It's I don't want to tie everyone with the same brush, but a lot of the time you end up with people that will do the bare minimum. They just want to get paid and go home.
Yeah.
And then I think I've been lucky to find a lot of people who are the exact opposite. They're not checking their invoices to make sure they've got every single thing they ever invoiced for, but they are doing above and beyond every day. Because A, they want to impress you, B, they want to get on.
Some days they play with both hands.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? That's the attitude you need to have to go forward.
Yeah.
For someone to pick you and to say, yes,
Yeah.
I'm going to promote you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen to lazy people.
No, it doesn't.
And it's really annoying when the lazy people get you up. Well, I never get anywhere. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't do anything.
Yeah. Oh God, because I've sort of had that a bit, Oh God, that should have been me. You
have had that. I know you've had that.
Yeah, and you're like, well,
no,
it wasn't.
No.
Because I tell you, this is another bit of advice, and this was Nobby Bollocks advice.
Yeah.
Always say yes to rehearsals.
Yeah.
And that's it. If somebody offers you an opportunity, say yes. And then try and make it work. If it doesn't work, duck out.
100%.
But just in the first instance, just say yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to do this? If it's a good opportunity, yes, I do.
100%. Yeah. No, I mean, I would say that about you in that I've asked you to do some very oddball, ridiculous things, and generally you say, yeah, sounds like life. I'm up for it. Yeah. Whereas, other people, they would immediately tell you all the reasons why you shouldn't do it. And that's not what you want. No. You want someone to say yes and help you work it out. Yeah. And, that's
not so much now, but, we did spend a lot of that time doing the things that you suggested, with me rolling spliffs and us drinking beers. What better way to spend creative time doing exciting projects?
But there are certain kinds of people who get those opportunities, come their way more often than not.
Do you think?
Yeah, because they're yes people, and because they're prepared to
I think
get
there's
involved.
a lot of people that don't get opportunities, or perhaps they don't. Perhaps they do get opportunities and they don't see it. Yeah, I think there is a reason. Yeah.
Something just popped in my head then, and it's gone, and it needs to come back. But it was very much related to that, and it's I guess it's that thing, isn't it? Of I know what it was. We used to work with a guy, I won't mention his name, he helped us make a film years ago, and he constantly told me how lucky I was. He kept saying to me, oh, you're so lucky. Everything just lands in your lap. You've got a lucky streak a mile wide. And I'm like, no. I haven't got any of that. I work really hard. I put myself in the right place at the right time, because I'm trying to put myself in as many places as possible all the time, so that I'm there when the opportunities come up. That ain't luck. No. That's just grinding.
Yeah, it's annoying when people say, I know exactly what you're talking, it's annoying when people say that.
Yeah, because I've never considered myself lucky, other than, there's rare occasions when something fluky happens, but 9 times out of 10 it's because you put in the legwork beforehand.
Well, you're a chancer. I wouldn't go as far as to say you give it legwork, but if you see an opportunity, you'll be in there giving it the old
100%.
Sean Vincent Silvertongue.
You have to.
You do, yeah.
They crop up very rarely. If you see an opportunity, you have to kind of grab it, otherwise someone else will.
Yeah. There you go. There's another great bit of advice.
Blimey. If my 18-year-old self was sat there now, he'd have gone, oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, look at these
Just give it a rest.
Look at these two old fuckers.
See what gets.
Yeah. Waxing lyrical.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. Wow. So anything else? What about the dreaded subject we sort of try and steer away from because it gets us in trouble? What about relationship advice? What would you say to the younger you? What to avoid? What to not avoid?
I would say,
without talking about what you wanted to talk about.
I'd say, and I'll be discreet, don't turn down as many opportunities as perhaps were presented.
Very well put.
Yeah. Don't be quite so fussy.
Don't be quite so fussy.
Yeah. Make the most of it.
Yeah.
Because essentially it all feels the same.
Oh, God.
Well, that would be one of my key points, bits of advice.
Yeah. Will you say the same to your teenage daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Similarly, I feel I've been quite, I've gone through life, we're talking about the blinkers.
Yeah.
A little bit bullishly, careered through Bull China Shop, often without considering how my behaviour and my actions might impact other people's feelings.
I would agree with you. Yeah. I recognise that version of you.
And I would say to my younger self, just every now and again, just stop, take a breath, and look around at the impact that your behaviour is having on the people around you.
Sucking on the exhaust pipe, look in the mirror, calm down a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a bit of advice. Yeah.
That is good advice.
You look outwards. I think the thing is, this is something I've realised growing old is, I've never really had any perception of any understanding of how I'm perceived. You go through life in your head, don't you?
It's very hard to
looking outwards.
You have
no idea about the way you're perceived by other people. No. And sometimes, much to my astonishment, it wasn't entirely positive.
Yeah, I've heard that about myself too. Yeah. I don't know if we've ever had this discussion. I once, on a tour bus, overheard a group of people severely dissing me. Like, they all thought I'd gone to bed and I'd woken up, and just before I opened the door into the lounge, I heard the conversation. I'm like, oh, damn. It was full on.
Was it?
Yeah, I was being properly dug out. It was like,
wow,
C-bombs and everything.
Really?
Yeah, it was full on. And I just went, okay. And
did you go in?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a beer and I went in and sat down, let the conversation sort of obviously change.
Yeah.
And then just just sort of, I don't think I said that I heard exactly what you're saying. And I just said, well, did I hear my name mentioned? You know, so just before I came in, and everyone was, no. And then the person involved, it was only really one person doing all the talking. We did have a conversation a few days later when I finally couldn't sort of keep it in anymore. But it was one of those things where I did recognise some stuff about myself. I'm like, got a point.
Fair point, yeah.
Got a point, you know.
Yeah. You see, the prospect that anybody says anything other than positive, kind things about me is just, I can't.
Well, I'm not going to go into it, but do you remember once we had a situation on the tour bus where we'd both fallen asleep, and
yeah, we got drawn on.
We got drawn on.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
Someone with a Sharpie did attack us in our sleep. Yeah. These things happen.
They do. People fall asleep on tour buses.
They do. Yeah.
Eventually.
Anyway.
Yeah. So
what have we missed?
I don't know. I'm not sure I'm wise enough. You know, in summary, it would be don't take it all too seriously. Don't give yourself a hard time.
Yeah.
It will always be all right. You know, there are people on this planet where it's not going to be always all right.
That's 100%, I think, something very important to say. I do think that, but I'm not sure the younger me always did. Everything will be all right.
Yeah, it will be all right. You'll work it out.
Just chill. Everything will be all right. Things work themselves out. There's nothing, however bad something might seem in the moment, a couple of days have passed, a couple of sleeps.
But that's because we're fortunate of where we're born, of course. You know, it's not like we're in a war-torn, country or...
No,
there's anything terrible going on.
Growing up in paradise in comparison to...
Well, you are. I'm in... Not paradise where I'm come from.
It ain't bad.
It's all pub gardens and hanging out around here. Another hard day's work.
We've got to go and do a lot of work now.
Well, it's not a lot of work, is it really?
It's a bit of work.
A couple of hours.
Still work.
Yeah, still work. So I would advise myself to stick with Sean. Because he always makes working fun.
I remember...
Oh, no, he turns fun into work.
On my 40th birthday, you wrote in that book where people were writing things about me, you wrote that I decided you were going to be my friend one day, and that was that.
Yeah, it was. You did. You're like, right. It was almost like, eyes across a bar. You're like, right, you're 18, you're going to be my friend forever.
I don't know where that came from.
No, and here we are.
You must have had something interesting going on. Or maybe it was your round.
Yeah, well, probably a measly combination of them both.
Good.
But here we are, 20 odd years later.
Terrifying.
Oh, there we go. That'd be another bit of advice.
Go on.
When you've got a good friend, don't let them go. When
That's
you find, I know lots of people. I mean, I'm a popular guy, Sean.
You are.
But I've got like 3, 4, 5, like true, and all of them I've known for at least 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to put effort in.
Yeah.
Put effort into friendships. But if they're good for you, put effort into them.
Yeah.
And now and again it will go lopsided and they might be a twat for a bit and you still put in the effort, and then when you're going through it and you're being a twat, they'll have to put in the effort. And that's how it works.
We've been pretty good. We're not that... I mean, we look out for each other, but we're not. We're pretty good at not being twats, aren't we?
I don't think we've ever fallen out.
No, we haven't.
No.
Maybe
for a few minutes, but nothing longer than that.
Yeah, when I try to take control, when I make a suggestion, that's when we fall out.
Well, it's just an instant no and we move on. No reason to fall out, Dan. I'm in charge and that's it.
To learn. Yeah, I know.
As long as you're good with that, we're good.
I couldn't believe you actually admitted that in a recent episode. I'm a control freak. I have to be in charge. I was like,
I know, but I know I do.
Yeah.
It's not a surprise.
It's like some sort of... counselling. It's like couples counselling these episodes.
It is a little bit. It is a bit similar.
Yeah. God, I never did. Yeah. There we go. So, please like the video.
Subscribe to the channel. You can watch us on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts or Apple Podcasts. There's a bunch of stuff you can click on down there.
Yeah. Take these pearls of wisdom and pass them on to your offspring.
Or not. Whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, we'll see you next time.
Adios.
See ya.